What's going on, y'all? It's your boy, Once Grove, OSGOE. I was thinking today, sun came out, and I'm thinking, what topic should I discuss today, this evening, tonight, wherever you are in the world? And I was thinking, well, I've covered in over 220 episodes here on Casting 495 Celebrities Worldwide. That's C4CW. By the way, thank you for tuning in. If you're a fan of the show, if you appreciate the show, man, I appreciate you on behalf of 495. So let's just get into it. I never ask anyone to like or subscribe. I think that's pretty corny, at least in what we do here. Some people do it. It works for them. More power to them. That's cool. But we don't do that. We just get organic likes. Anybody who's ever liked our show, we've never asked them to like the show, and we've never asked them to subscribe to the show. So they're purely organic likes. And we've never paid for advertising for the show. So all of the plays that you see, all of the downloads that you see, those were not paid for. So imagine if we paid for the show. Wow, imagine the potential here and there. Point is, we've covered not just broad, not even like wide, just beyond that. Now, we've covered so many topics here, man. People, they can say, oh, we cover a wide range of topics on our show. It's quite broad. Broad range, wide range, broad range, wide range. We talk about sports, news, hip-hop, and clothing. It's like, those are four things, dude. On this show, we've covered probably like 100 different topics in just 220 episodes. Just 220 episodes. So, today, what I was thinking, contemplating, considering then, was that we would talk about the studio recording process. Because some people, when they think of hip-hop, rap, and rock, and jazz, and whatever type of music, contemporary, oldies but goodies, old school, new jack, swing era, whenever people consider electro, swing, someone was telling me last night, talking about electro swing, I was like, what? When people think about these things, when they try to put them into perspective, it's very often from a consumer standpoint. They're like, yeah, I listen to this, I listen to that. What genres do you listen to? They don't often think about or consider the recording process. The recording process is a whole world unto itself from a production standpoint. So really, there's kind of two different ways you can think about it. You can think about music from the consumer perspective. You can also think about music from the production perspective. You may be thinking, Grove, yeah, right, totally got it. Like, that's so logical, and it's like a no-brainer, like everybody knows that. Not everyone really thinks about it, though, is my point. People may know that. Of course, they're humans. They're like, somebody produced this, and I'm listening to it. But they're not really familiar so much with the recording process. So this is kind of a DIY, like do-it-yourself or how-to episode where we're going to talk about lyrics. Because, dude, lyrics, like whether it's a haiku, it's a poem, it's some flowetry, i.e. poetry, if it's a written rap, if it's just like some shit that someone has like scribbled on the back of like a matchbook at a club or a piece of paper at a restaurant. Napkin is what I meant to say. Dude, when it comes to lyrics, a few bars, if written in such a way, dude, you can get paid. You can make fucking millions of dollars from writing a few simple lines of text. You see, it's kind of like the lottery system, dude. You buy scratch tickets if you gamble, and please do so responsibly. I'm not encouraging anyone to gamble, and if you have a gambling addiction or think that you might, please consult with whatever organization it is that helps people or seeks to help people who have that issue. So check it out. People who fucking do scratch tickets, right? Man, you're hearing stories now about people that do the scratch tickets, dude, and they're getting fucking millions of dollars, like day laborers. People working menial jobs, dude, mundane menial jobs, day laborers. They're off work or on a break. They got their hard hat on and their fucking work boots and shit, grabbing a hoagie sandwich. Oh, hold up. Let me get a little scratch ticket. $1, $2, scratch, boom. 5 fucking million, however many millions of dollars, man. 3 million, somewhere in between. Dude, from scratching a lottery ticket. Now, again, and I'm not talking about the lotto. I'm talking about the lottery, as in the scratch tickets. So, not the ones where you pick the numbers. I'm talking about the ones where you scratch. $1, $2, millions of dollars just made. So, people who play those scratch tickets, sometimes they never win anything ever. I mean, other than maybe like $1 or $2. Some people, dude, they win 100 or 500. Some people, man, they win 1,000 or several thousand, 20,000, right, on fucking scratching tickets, dude. Scratching tickets. Well, I have often thought that rappers like Psy, the South Korean, thus Korean musical sensation, phenomenal K-pop sensation, Psy, the rapper, Gangnam Style. I was watching his interviews, and if I was interpreting them correctly, don't quote me on this, but I heard something like, and again, I don't know if this is true or accurate, but this is what I remember, whether false or true. Something like this. That song that he wrote, dude, the Gangnam Style, he had been working on raps, dude, for years. And he would, like, do different raps, like, try different things, like, experiment, and do this and that. And people were kind of like, oh, yeah, man, you're rapping, right? Ha, 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 that's funny, but, yeah, whatever, dude, that's cool, I guess, but, like, why? And then, dude, he hit one fucking rap. He hit one algorithm, dude. Like, penned it right one time, just like a scratch ticket. So you're writing lyrics, right? Back to my point, which is all the same point. But you're writing lyrics, like, down on a daily basis. Writing a few lines like, I was walking down the street to a funky beat. I roll with niggas that be elite. I mean, just whatever, right? That's 2 lines. I just came up with 2 lines. Then you're like, huh? And then somebody tells you, man, what you doing? And you're like, man, I'm a rapper. And they're like, bro, how you a rapper? And you're just like, I like to rap, man. I just, come up with lyrics. And they'd be like, you got any albums out or anything? And you just be like, nah, man, I just pen shit on paper. Motherfuckers be like, man, you ain't gonna do anything, bro. You ain't got your style. Man, you can't even flow, bro. Let me hear you say that shit again. And you just be like, okay. I'm walking down the street to a funky beat. I rolls with niggas that be straight elite. And they'd be like, man, that ain't even on time. And you're like, well, sounded on time to me. They'd be like, man, you ain't got it, man. You ain't got no flow, bro. You can't fucking rap. And you're like, whatever, dude. That sounded dope in my mind. Like the way I was just rocking that 2 bars and shit, Shit, sound cool to me. Sound like it on time to me. And they'd be like, nah, man, you just need to leave it alone, bro. Like, man, you ain't got no rap skills, bro. Your timing's off. Like, you're rhyming off time. And you just be like, okay, man, thanks for the constructive criticism, bro. Maybe I was off time then. Maybe I wasn't. You just keep penning your lyrics, right? One day you put them to a beat. Now, keep in mind, a lot of cats give up in the rap game. They give up because they've been putting out albums or... I'm talking about albums. There are niggas that put out albums like at home, in their home studio, or at some studio that's not at home, like a friend's studio or some recording studio that they go to, that they like pay money to go to, or however they do it. And dude, there's niggas that have been putting out albums for years, and they got like artwork and pictures and graphics. They pay someone to make the graphics, and or they do the pictures and graphics and stuff themselves, and they package it because it's their art and they believe in it. And you be seeing them, and they might have some jewels or something, little sports car in the photo, have some like little graphic design of like maybe some like dragon flames or something. You know, I don't even know I said dragon flames. They might have like some bags of money like that have been like pixeled in. In other words, like I almost said Adobe Acrobat. Adobe fucking premiered in and shit on some like iMovie fucking Final Cut Pro type shit. Get some little editing and post editing going on. And you're like, damn, this nigga's paid up. Look at his artwork. How he got that Ferrari that he calls a Rari in the background, even though it's like not his. And he'll have some like new Jordan sneakers on or something, and like some gold teeth. And then he'll have like a chain. And then there's like some female that he like paid to come and stand next to him for the photo and show like a breast or something, right? And it'll be like, Nigga J. And you'd be like, who's Nigga J? This dude is papered up. And it'd be like, Nigga J presents myself. And you'd be like, what? This cat just put himself out on wax. I'm gonna listen to Nigga J. This dude's, look, he got gold teeth in the chain and fucking Jordan basketball shoes. Man, oh shit, and the fucking Ferrari? What? And who's that bitch? Like, man, this nigga's pimping. All that shit probably cost like $200 because it's his homie's car. It ain't his, or he, standing at a car lot or something, and you got some angle where you think it's his ride, but he's literally at a car lot, and he just airbrushed out the background and shit. $200. Tossed her like a milk bone. Hey man, I'll buy you like a couple 40s and a pack of Newports and shit, and I'll like put $20 in your pocket. Could you just stand next to me right here in this car lot and just kind of show like a little reveal, like maybe make it look like your breast is popping out and shit. Nigga J on the set. This motherfucker paid like $200 for this fucking album cover, right? And you think that shit's popping. That nigga ain't never sold a single fucking MP3 download ever. He been doing that craft, man. He be doing that shit for years, like 10 or 15. And people be seeing, cat, he got a day job and shit. Nigga J, man. But motherfuckers who is consumers, and they don't understand the business, they don't understand the industry, they think he's fucking popping. Like, they think his shit, like, they think this motherfucker's papered up. This dude, he ain't papered on anything other than a day fucking job and doing some Adobe Premiere Final Cut Pro type shit, iMovie, making little cuts, dude, in the fucking, in the home studio and whatnot. So, point is, you got dudes like him, like Nigga J. Nigga J just made up. There ain't nobody named Nigga J. Anyway, this dude, he been doing this shit for like 15 years of his life, putting out these albums, right? With his raps and stuff like that. And then people, again, they see that and they think that he's doing something. He ain't sold in 15 fucking years. He ain't sold one MP3. Okay, maybe 2 downloads. Maybe he sold 2 99-cent downloads in 15 years. The online company takes a few pennies. He got like 85 cents to 95 cents, probably more like 50 fucking cents. Dude, he made $1 in 15 years, yo. The nigga made $1 over the course of 15 years. And how much money did he put in to making them album covers and shit? From the money from his day job and shit, whatever day laborer job he got and shit? Bro, thousands of time, money, energy. So check game. Some niggas have been doing that and they've never been paid, and they're never gonna get paid in the rap fucking game. And do you think that's uncommon? Dude, that's so fucking common. Now, Since a lot of consumers, man, they've never really considered that. They've never really had it put into perspective. They know that niggas be faking in studio gangstering and shit. They know that. I mean, come on, dude. I think pretty much everyone, I mean, unless it's a kid who's impressionable and doesn't understand like the world around him or her, you know, they think anybody that they see on an album cover is doing something. Like when we were kids, like when I was a kid, you know, we were like, oh, who's this guy, man? Who's this nigga Jay? Nigga Jay look poppin', right? I mean, when we were kids, man, we'd see album covers and we just figured anybody that had an album in the record store, in other words, a cassette tape. Keep in mind, CDs didn't exist. Dude, kids, I think like I read some statistics some like 25, 30 years ago. And what they were saying, the statistics, what they were showing was that something like the average hip hop consumer, that is hip hop rap consumer, the average hip hop rap consumer is between the age of 12 and 29. 12 and 29. So basically, dude, the people that are buying these products, they're kids, dude, they're not even 30 years old. So we're talking about 12 to 30, but basically not even 30. Not even the age of 30. These are kids in their teens going into their 20s and in their 20s. So teenagers and those in their 20s. No one in their 30s, no one in their 40s, mostly at all, okay? Because people have tuned out. They've gone on to other shit. They're like, man, I don't fuck with that rap shit, dude. I listen to like old school 1980s soft rock love songs, hair bands, metal bands, fucking ballads, Cyndi Lauper, Madonna. That would fucking be me. That is I. So what people don't often consider is that people my age, dude, we don't really fuck with that shit at all, dude. Nigga J type shit. We just don't. It's fucking stupid and it's played out. So you got a lot of that, man. And here's the other thing that a lot of people don't know. That statistic that I just quoted, 12 to 29 years old, most of those kids are white Caucasian kids who live in the suburbs, not ghetto, not low-income housing. So 12 to 29 teenagers and those in their 20s living in white suburban communities, like where I'm from. So point is this, dude, is if you look at the stats, if you peep the statistics, the consumer base for hip hop rap is in the suburbs, dude. It's not in the hood. It's not in the fucking ghetto. And it's not black African American kids buying the material, the content, the albums for the most part. No, because the money isn't there in the hood. Mostly, if niggas is like law abiding and shit and not selling D, in other words, not in the dope game. Dude, a lot of kids don't have the financial resources, man, to go out and buy fucking, man, when I was a kid, dude, albums were like $16.99 going up to $19.99. An album, you used to be able to buy an album for $9.99, $10. And then at some point it spiked, man, and it went up to like $16.99. We were like, what? $17 fucking dollars for an album? And then the shit hit $19.99. And it was like, this is ridiculous, dude. And I'm a half white kid from a white upscale affluent fucking community. And I was like, yo, man, my fucking lawn mowing money, man? Shit, I gotta mow 2 lawns, man. Shit, price went down on the lawn mow too. I do a lawn mow. I ain't getting $20 at the time. I'd get $10 fucking dollars, dude, to mow a lawn. I'd have to mow 2 lawns just to buy a CD or a cassette at that rate. Fucking $16.99, $20 fucking dollars, $19.99. This shit's ridiculous, though. So yo, man, I used to see these dudes right in the record store. And I was like, yo, who are these motherfuckers, like, from all these different states and all these different territories with these different, like, covers and shit. If you go back, man, and you look at, like, Master P's first albums that he ever put out, like, if you look, oh, man, I love Master P, man. What's his name? Percy Miller? Man, bro, I don't know if that's correct, but yo, Master P, that dude made a fortune, man, on some shit. You know what I'm saying? But like, look, I'm saying this is I'm just keeping it 100. Like, I knew this cat was gonna do something big because you got a million motherfuckers back when I was a kid. You're walking through the record store. You see you at the mall or wherever, right? Tape store, because it was called a tape store back then, man. You're walking through the fucking record store and you see a million niggas like a nigga J. Nigga J just made up. I made that shit up, that name. It's just some fucking generic ass shit. And that's what fools were. A lot of them were just fucking generic. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying Master P was. What I'm saying is Master P was the statistical outlier. Because I'm walking through, looking at these cassettes, man, and I'd hit the mall. I'd hit the fucking mall on a daily fucking basis, either by myself or with the homies and shit, because there was an arcade right next to it. We called it the E-Mall, like echo, like E as in echo. It's the E-Mall and shit. Fucking, we'd hit the mall, checking out the tape store. We finally, at some point, we got a, because I'm from the north end, Riverside, Northeast, and so I'm from the Northeast, man, and we at some point, we got a record store that was closer to where I'm from, which was like real fucking close. The E-Mall, man, was a mission. That was that was on the south side of town, man. That was on the south side. So you'd have to get on like a bus, or like if one of the homies had a car and shit back in the day. So the point is that these tapes in these record stores, they had gone up at some point before CDs, like just as like CDs were like materializing, it just spiked up. It was like, what? And you'd see a million motherfuckers like nigga J. And you'd be like, who's this fool? Who's this fool? Who are these females? Like, where are these motherfuckers from? So you might pick up one or two or a few of them, right? Like, I know this cat, he old school, he from the hip hop era and shit. He fuck with this hip hop posse and stuff like this. He a white dude. And anyway, I feel bad for him, man, because he on lock right now, man, and they broke him off some time, man, on some shit. But man, I grew up with him and his brother, his younger brother is my homie. I mean, they was both my homies, man, like growing up and shit. But he's older than us, and he ran with this hip hop posse that my crew ended up connecting with. You know what I'm saying? And but anyway, man, he had hefty bags, like fucking hefty bags, filled with cassette tapes. I'm saying filled with cassette tapes. I won't go into any details or anything, but you know, man, West Coast motherfuckers was hustling. It's like this one dude I knew, this one cat we all knew, back when crack cocaine first fucking hit the streets of America, man. Shit, during the fucking New Jack City, during that whole era of the movie and shit with like Nino fucking Brown, dude, when crack cocaine hit the streets of America and the shit was police, drug, gang, crack war on and active. I'm talking police, drug, gang wars on the streets of America. Man, I knew niggas that had excessive money. Like, motherfuckers was just, why? I knew this one nigga, he had a whole storage unit filled with shoeboxes, that had shoeboxes filled with hundreds, fucking C-notes, Benjamins, dude. And yes, he got popped by the feds and it was on TV and shit, and he told us about it. So don't think this nigga still got a storage unit with shoeboxes filled with hundreds. But he did back in the motherfucking day, bruh. Like, that shit was ill. Like, and that cat, yo, like, I saw kids, man, that were like 14 years old, which was my age at the time. So I'm saying that was us. That was our age group. I saw kids, we were kids who used to play like Dungeons and Dragons, like the game. Like, they used to play, man, like games and shit down at the little like comic book shop where you could like do D&D, like Dungeons and Dragons, and like read comic books off the shelves and shit. Man, motherfuckers that I grew up with that used to go to the E-Mall and shit and play like Street Fighter at the arcade, man, that was right next to the tape shop. Man, I saw kids growing up, bruh, that had to like scrape up money just to get on a bus, just to go to the mall to spend $5 maximum. Like, they'd have a maximum of $5 to get some quarters, to get some fucking tokens. to play some motherfucking game before they even had tokens. I mean, there was always tokens, but back when video games actually took fucking quarters, at some point they transitioned over to tokens. But man, niggas used to be leaking, man, in their pockets and shit. Niggas' pockets would be leaking and have like $5 and shit. Kids we grew up with, man, like hanging out like downtown and shit, around town. Snotty-nosed kids, you know? Motherfucker just be like down and out and shit. Have like ashy skin and like snotty nose and shit. I saw niggas like that come the fuck up on the streets of America, man. I'm talking like piss pot fucking poor broken shit. And I'm not talking about niggas that are from like the suburbs. I'm talking about cats that's from low income housing. Because originally, man, like I've talked about in these podcasts, my mother, man, she was in the military and she raised me. And she did it as a single parent because my dad wasn't around. He was in the military and he had been in the Vietnam War. And the point is that she was a soldier herself and she raised me as a single parent. So for the first 8 years of my life, we were in the low income housing projects. And then she got her degree at the college down the street and we moved up out of the hood. We moved up out the fucking ghetto. So, and I'm talking low income. I'm talking fucking projects, the PJs, housing motherfucking projects, the low income part of town. So I knew cats from that neighborhood because I continued even when we moved to the burbs, like down the street. Man, I grew up, man, I continued to like be around that part of town because that's the part of town that I'm from and that's how I gets down back in the day. And so fucking anyway, man, I grew up around kids that was both low income and higher income. And those kids, the higher income and lower income kids, they knew each other too because where I'm from, the different parts of town, they're not separated by some like long ass distance. It's literally across one street. You got Broadway. You cross it on one side, you're in the fucking hood. You cross it on the other side, you're in the suburbs. It's that simple. That's how small of a fucking town I come from. So when the fucking crack cocaine epidemic hit and the town that I'm from became the town in America where crack cocaine in the news media sold for a higher profit than any other fucking neighborhood in North America. You heard what I just said. Crack cocaine, the profit from crack cocaine sold for more, was higher in my city, my town, than anywhere else, any other city in North America. So all those different rappers that you were hearing about back in the 1980s and 90s, all those dudes, all them dudes from LA and whatnot that you heard about, like NWA and fucking fucking all the rappers from like Wu-Tang Clan and because I had to put it in perspective, like East to West, Rap-A-Lot Records in the South. You had back, man, even before like P. Diddy was like in the news and shit, like beefing with like, the cats out west, like Snoop Dogg and all them. Back before they had the East and West Coast beef, like before the East Coast and the West Coast was beefing, you had a handful, just a finite small number of rappers coast to coast, man. There was no fucking internet, didn't exist. CDs were brand new, like compact discs. And so there wasn't high-speed internet. You didn't have people making music at home on the internet with software programs. I'm talking people were making tapes in fucking studios, like analog tapes. So when the crack epidemic popped off, motherfuckers came from every fucking state in the union to the town that I'm from. We had niggas from LA, niggas from Chicago, niggas from New York, niggas from Texas, niggas from Louisiana, niggas from motherfucking Detroit, Michigan. Man, I saw these niggas from Washington, D.C., they pulled up on the homie Super Dave. His name is Super Dave. And Super Dave is he's gangsta, he's GD. He's a BGD. So they roll up on this folk nigga that we know from the neighborhood. Now he's tall, he got the boombox and shit and whatnot, you know what I'm saying? And he's a G in our hood, right? We're bloods, this nigga folk. So we, like depending on where you go in America, man, there's, and a lot of times, like folks, they be against like Bloods, you know what I'm saying? But in the Pacific Northwest, in the Pacific Northwest, is different though. It's different. Like there's neighborhoods of folks that get down with neighborhoods of Bloods. Like that's a fact. It's just that way in the fucking Pacific Northwest. Shit is different out there. So so this nigga that we knew, his name is Super Dave. And anyway, so Super Dave. So this nigga named Super Dave, these dudes from DC, Super Dave got the boombox and shit. We out on the block, we drinking 40s and fucking there's like 5 of us and shit. We're out in front of this one spot downtown. This dude, that's what I was gonna say, man. We got a tape store at some point that was downtown that was closer to home. So we could go and look at tapes and CDs and shit just like a few miles from where I'm from. Anyway, we're downtown and these dudes from DC, they pull up. They just pulls up and they jump out the ride and shit. And you could tell, man, these niggas was heated, right? And these niggas had come out to the West Coast from Washington, D.C. with D.C. fucking plates and everything. They drove thousands of miles. And they pose up on Super Dave. And the homie's like, nigga, where you from? He's like, what you talking about, man? He's like, nigga, this is me, man, Super Dave. He said, nah, nigga, where you really from? And he's like, this is on some random shit. And he's like, man, what you talking about, man? Like, man, this is my hood, man. I ain't got no problem with anybody, man. And they was like, nigga, I'm talking about you. Where you from, motherfucker? What race are you? And I was like, oh, wow, what? Because these is black African-American cats, right? Super Dave and these niggas that pulled up. And we're looking at each other, man. We're like 15 years old. And Super Dave, he an older dude and shit. Like in his 20s. We used to fucking have... man, we used to be drinking and shit. We need a nigga who over 21, man. But so anyway, man, they said the dude, nigga, you tainted. You tainted, motherfucker. You ain't real. Cause man, Super Dave, he had like some Native American in him or something. And his eyes were like, they weren't 100% like dark brown. They was like, motherfucker, you got a motherfucking problem? And Super Dave was just like, man, I ain't got no problems, man. This like, nigga, you think I won't do something? You think I won't motherfucking do something? Nigga, this is DC, nigga. DC, nigga. What's up, nigga? What set you claim, nigga? Where you from? And then this homie was like, come on, bro, let's go. And he's like, man, fuck this. And he said to Super Dave, he said, man, fuck this. He said, man, fuck this nigga. This nigga ain't real. This ain't a real nigga. This nigga tainted. Look at his eyes. Look at his eyes. Nigga eyes ain't even brown. This nigga fake. And I was just like, wow, that's some fucking genocide type shit. That was 19, I'm going to say 88. This is about the year 1988, back when cats still had boom boxes walking down the street. Super Dave, man, he had probably like 20 different boom boxes and shit during the time that we were out on the street fucking drinking 40s, rocking with him for like several years and shit. And he always had this expression that he'd be like, pump your brakes one time, homeboy. He'd be like, turn that frown upside down. Have you a Kool-Aid smile. Yo, Super Dave, man, was funny as fuck. And man, we'd just be out on the block. We'd walk downtown. Man, we get downtown just about the time before we started getting our licenses and shit. And driving, so few of the homies started to have cars. My homeboy Spank motherfucking T, he hooked me up with my first whip, gave me my first ride and shit. And we were roommates and all some business shit, man, all some friendship. He was just like, yo, Grove, that's your ride. And I was like, what? He's like, man, I just got a new one. That's for you. And I was like, what you mean? He's like, that's your car now, dog. Like, you driving that vehicle right now. I'm signing it over to you. This is the, you know what I'm saying, paperwork. Like, this is you, homie. So, like, registration and everything. So at any rate, the point is that Super Dave, man, was one of the homies. And we used to go to parties and shit, and he'd be there. We'd take him to parties, and you know what I'm saying? Like, he'd be hanging out with us, or we'd show up somewhere, and we'd see Super Dave, like, walking down the street, and he'd have a boombox. He got, like, a case of 40s in the bushes just stashed off on the side and shit. So that's how we grew up. So back then, that's when Master P started rolling out his cassette tapes. So we'd see Master P cassette tapes. Master P, we got all these niggas from all these different motherfucking neighborhoods, all these different states, all these different hoods, fucking selling D, racketeering guns, weapons, fucking some RICO Act type shit up in our neighborhood, just fucking out of control ass niggas with shoe boxes filled to fucking the ceilings with $100 bills in them. I'm talking on some fucking RICO Act type shit. Like, man, every fucking state in the union had gang niggas in our fucking town. So if you want to talk about like LA and Chicago and New York, it was all in one city. Now, when have you seen a movie about that phenomenon? You have never seen that. So, Master P, I'm like, who's this motherfucker? Like this out, who is this guy right here? And I had been in California. I had been in the Bay Area and Oakland area, Oakland, San Francisco Bay Area, San Francisco, Oakland Bay Area. I lived for a summer out in Hayward, California. Lived in Alameda County, and I'd be in and out of Oakland on a daily basis because it was literally 5 minutes down the road. And Crow Canyon, Castro Valley. I used to skateboard, have my gang affiliated attire. I'd be rocking my gear, for my set. Anyway, the point is this dude shows up in the record store talking about, I'm saying his image, like on this cassette for the first time I'd ever seen it in my lifetime. And it's this nigga, and his name is Master P. And I'm like, who the fuck is this dude? Master P? Who the fuck calls himself Master P? I got to buy this shit. So I bought the tape. Now back then, I think tape cassettes were like, they fluctuated. You could get them from like $6.99 to $9.99. And that, if I'm not mistaken, that particular album was that particular album was kind of like an EP. It only had a few tracks or something on it, and it was like $6.99. So, I picked it up. I picked up the Master P album, and I took it home because at the time I stayed with my grandmother, because my mother was military and she was married to this dude who wasn't my biological dad. And the dude she was married to was a dude who was he was a senior chief in the military, and he and I didn't get along at the time, and so I left her household where she lived with him because they were both military and shit, and he was one of them dudes that was trying to like run a military household and shit. And I was like, man, fuck this, I ain't doing this shit with you, bruh. Like I ain't cool with your style of trying to be a fucking stepdad. So I just ran away. I was like, fuck it. I'm just going to take my skateboard, dude, and I'm going to bounce on y'all, And so I fucking just rolled off. Like I said, I went and lived out in Hayward for a summer and shit, and worked for a construction company, made hundreds of dollars when I was a kid. That was a lot of money. And did it legally, legit, and had a bunch of money in my pocket. And then I was like, yo, fuck this place. I'm going to get on a bus. So I got on a Greyhound, and I went to the Pacific Northwest. And so the point is, I'm buying these fucking cassette tapes, and I'm staying at my grandmother's house at the time, between my grandmother's house and my aunt's house, who she lived out in the country on 5 acres of land back then and shit. She'd worked for government for like 35 years, retired, and she had a multi-million-dollar property that she paid off herself with her job that she had for almost 40 years in the U.S. government. So she was one of the first women who had certification in information technology back in the like 1960s. She did, and my mother both did. That's how my mother got her job in naval communications intelligence. So the two of them, they had been in Washington, D.C., East Coast area back in the 1960s, both of them working in government. Well, she had been dating this dude that was CIA, and my mother was dating a Navy SEAL. Her sister, my aunt, was dating a CIA operative from Williamsburg, Virginia, and she used to go down and see him at the farm, and they broke up, so she went back to the Northwest. And she just continued to work for the federal government throughout her career, retired, and she paid off her property. Well, when I left California, I went back and she was like, you can stay with me, but you got to go to this school right here. You can't go to the school that you're from because the gang activity and the drugs, and plus it's far, and you have to like go through this airport zone with all these cars and shit. And I was, keep in mind, I just turned 15 years old. So I got all this gold and shit that I bought. I got like gold rings, gold men's necklaces, gold fucking, I mean, you know, back before, you know what I'm saying, it was this ridiculous shit where niggas had like crazy chains. I mean, niggas always had ropes, but yo, I mean, I'm talking like gold ropes. But back in the day, I had the men's, you know what I'm saying, bracelet, the men's earrings, you know, all gold. Everything was gold, like just all gold. And so the point is, you know, I got this Oakland gear, Raiders fucking corduroy, ball, all kinds of Raiders gear. Got the corduroy jump, got the other jump that's just like the Pro Fit. Man, I had all the shit, all the starter gear, all the motherfucking, man, come on, bro. So I'm rocking Master P, living between my grandmother's house and my aunt's house because my aunt and I would have a falling out. And then I'd go back to the city where I'm from and I'd just go back there for like a few days or whatever and then chill at my grandmother's house. So I had a back room. It was my grandfather's study area where he had all of his books and stuff from post-World War II. And before that, pre-World War II, it was his personal study. So that was my room. And I'd be in there, man, and I had me some equipment and like decks and everything. So I'll be bumping Master P. Here's my point in everything that I've shared with you in this backstory. I'm keeping it real with y'all. I love Master P's style and what he does. And the fact that he kept at it, that he stayed at it and he stayed with it. But those very first albums that he put out, if you put them in a high fidelity, top of the line deck of any kind, I'm talking the cassette tapes that he put out. Master P with his hundreds of millions of dollars. Back then, when he was on some experimental type stuff, like when he was talking about like California, I've seen his interviews and everything with the tape store and you know what I'm saying? But look, I'm saying like this. Back then, I took his tape around to all these different like places where my uncle had like a Bose system, high fidelity speakers, like, you know, fuck bass, man, and, you know, mid-range and tweeters. Man, for some reason, P had vocals, but the production, the instrumentals that he had, even if you cranked up your stereo system to 10, like max, dude, the bass wasn't kicking like Too Short's albums. And I'm like, yo, why doesn't his bass kick like these other rappers like Too Short and Ice-T? Something's lacking here. And what I quickly realized and learned at that point, that was a turning point. What I quickly realized was that not everything that's out in the stores is recorded professionally in professional recording studios. Like that, I was like, oh, okay. It was like an aha moment. Like, wow, this is interesting. This cat is, I guess, independent. Like he's underground. You know what I mean? Because that was the first time that I had ever heard anything like that wasn't from like a big name, like production studio house. So I'm like, who is this? Like, huh? So I kept buying his tapes. He put out these different tapes and the quality kept getting better and better and better. He's one of the dudes that actually stayed in the business, that actually stuck with it and perfected his craft. Dude, and blew up in the industry. But a lot of those other cats, even the ones that had gone to like professional recording studios and all the bass frequencies and everything sounded right the way they should have, some of them niggas, a lot of them niggas, they were just nigga J type motherfuckers and they never did anything ever. Another statistical outlier who I used to buy his albums, very similar to, if not parallel to, straight up mirror image of, in terms of like business, like revenue model, dude, Strange Music, Tech Nine, same thing. I'm like, who's this dude? Man, I have all the Tech Nine's first cassette tapes. I bought them all. I bought all the Master P first cassette tapes. I bought all of his stuff. I bought all of their stuff. And both of those dudes, they both blew up in the industry because perseverance and just sticking with it, staying with it. After you've been in the game for 15 years and you've had little to no success, or you've had moderate success, or you've had, something in between, a lot of people, man, they just give up, dude. Like these guys, man, that have, like I said, for 15 years, they've been putting out albums similar to Master P. His first stuff, his Master P's like first albums and cassettes, similar to Tech Nine's first albums and cassettes. There's other cats out there, man, that have done that too, and they've never made a single penny. Like, not really, maybe $1. I'm talking like little to no money, and that is real talk. So what it comes down to, what it boils down to, that is that if these people want to be successful in the industry, after 15 years, man, of putting out these albums over and over again, and making little to no money. Literally, man, there are people who have done this. Like I'm saying, man, like I've been talking about since the beginning of this podcast, on this less than 1 hour presentation here of do it yourself, how to do it in the industry, how to become successful. The people, man, that have been putting out albums for 15 years and they haven't made a fucking dollar, or they've made $1, or they've made just like a few dollars, right? A lot of these people doing this shit, man, that aren't making any fucking money, it's because they fail to diversify. They fail to switch up their style. They keep sticking to the same format. They think they're dope, but they're not. And they don't have mass appeal. And they also, man, are unrealistic in terms of what it really takes. They keep telling people that they're going to blow. They don't realize how much money needs to be spent for marketing. A. B. They don't have content that has mass appeal, and they think that they do. They don't understand why they're not popping like Eminem. They don't understand why they're not popping like Jay-Z. They don't understand why they're not popping like Dre and 50. They don't understand why they're not. They don't understand why they're not popping like Master P in them, and Strange Music in them, and Ritz in them. They don't understand how they're not doing it. You know what I'm saying? And they're unrealistic. They're unrealistic, okay? They don't realize, like, cause they got people in their neighborhood propping them up. They're like, yeah, nigga, you dope, man. Nigga Jay, man, you shit dope. Like, man, you been at it for a minute, man. You about to blow. So nigga Jay, he get his head all fucking, you know what I'm saying, inflated with his ego in this little small town. He been doing shows around town. He been doing shows in different counties that are around him. He might even taken a little road trip. And then get this, some niggas, they get on with like a little mini tour, and they go and they open up for an artist like Tech Nine. They'll open for an artist like Tech Nine, right? And then like they'll just keep showing them photos about how they did the one thing or two things with Tech Nine in them, or someone like that, right? They can't understand why they're not blowing though. Like why they're not popping. Like why they ain't like Rick Ross. Why they ain't got Rick Ross money. They just can't understand how they're not getting money like E40 in them and Too Short in them. You understand? And for all these years, they've been going around town like not understanding that they're local still. Like, even though they're on the internet and even though they did an opening for these different artists and maybe went on some little tour where they got to like go around the country and do like a few like openings and shit, they still don't understand, and they're still totally unrealistic in that they think that they're reaching more of an audience than they actually are. If they ain't paying for advertising, if they're not paying for fucking ads on social media, they really ain't doing shit though. A motherfucker can have tens of thousands. Go with the number. Let's just go with 60. A motherfucker could have 60,000 followers on Twitter. Instagram looks like it's popping. Twitter looks like it's popping. Motherfucker can have album covers and shit and show a little picture that he opened up with Tech Nine or some shit. I'm just using this as an example, man. Or did some shit with the rapper Twista or whoever. Bone Thugs, maybe did a little Bone Thugs, like little cameo or something. Had Bone paid, to do some shit with some major artist, right? But the nigga still ain't popping. And he ain't advertising. And he doesn't understand how much D doesn't understand how much money it actually takes to put in to his career, her career, to get back the money and to actually make a profit. Because these niggas is static artists. They're static artists that are still regional. They fake like they're nationwide. They think in their minds that they're nationwide because they're on social media and the internet, but they ain't got motherfuckers buying their albums though. No, man. There's people playing their videos on fucking YouTube. But shit, if you ain't getting millions of plays on YouTube, okay? Chances are, man, like you ain't even like, you ain't even in the running to get any kind of money back. And then, even if you are getting millions of plays, this is E. These niggas like nigga J type motherfuckers, you see them and you think because they're getting millions of plays that they are getting some kind of money because now they got a fucking video on YouTube and shit. Keep this in mind. It's all about how you structure your business enterprise in terms of your royalties. What type of like legal representation do you have to protect your intellectual properties and to make sure that you're getting paid properly and that you're registered with one of the different performing rights organizations like ASCAP or BMI. I can't give any kind of legal or business advice, but I'm saying if niggas ain't registered with ASCAP or BMI or one of the SNOCAP in Canada or one of the different performing rights organizations, they're not getting their royalties that they deserve. They're not going to get their royalties. That is an integral part of the process. Even if you're an independent artist, to get your maximum fucking dollar, to get your money, okay, you got to get royalties from your music that plays world fucking wide. And those organizations are the ones that track that information. So if a nigga J type motherfucker ain't even registered with ASCAP BMI, then he ain't gonna get the proper dues and the real money in the game. Then the other thing is that even if he is, this is F, even if he is, she is, even if you're registered with those organizations, you gotta stay in touch with them. You gotta stay on top of your account. You gotta make sure that all of your albums are registered with those organizations. And you have to be in contact with those people regularly to make sure that you're getting the money that's coming to those organizations. It ain't going to happen automatically. And that's just scratching the surface. There's so much more to it. So when you talk about like licensing and getting your tracks like sponsored by companies in terms of like people are using your content, and then you're getting a percentage of that because your music is being used in movies and like video games and for like companies to sell their products. That's a whole nother ball game. I mean, it has to do with ASCAP and BMI and those performing rights organizations. But I'm just saying the licensing aspect of it all after you're registered with those organizations is a totally different ball game. Now you got to get your material into some type of queue where it can be reviewed by people that can get your music placed, where people can listen to your music and they can be like, yo, I want that associated with my product. Then you got to make sure that those companies, that they're legit and they're going to pay you. Man, there's so many different steps in the process to getting paid in the industry. And it just doesn't stop there. You might get paid a few $100s for something like that. Not a whole lot of money for a licensing opportunity. You might get paid a few $1,000s. But if you're not paying, but that's a finite amount of money that's going to run out at some point. And if you ain't reinvesting your money back into your business operation, then that's money gone. So that's why you see a lot of fraud niggas. They got jewels, they got spinners on their cars, they got a lot of material shit that they bought so they can fake you out and make it look like they're doing something. Them niggas is nigga J types. Nigga J types. Fucking J types. And you know, they got their Jordans on and shit. They got their jewels and their Jordans. Them nigga J types. J types. Those motherfuckers, that's what this podcast is gonna be called. It's gonna be called J types. So yo, sadly, pathetically, static niggas, they front. They got an image, but they're not in. Why have all those jewels and all that shit looking like that? You know what I'm saying? And your Jordans and all the stuff that I've talked about. Why not just liquidate that? Not even have the fucking jewels. Sell that shit. Invest it in advertising. Until you're getting yourself tens of thousands of dollars on a regular fucking revolving, ongoing, incremental basis. Until you're getting tens of thousands of dollars income and your bills are paid, why even have a motherfucking chain with a bunch of diamonds in it? That shit is stupid, man. That shit is fucking stupid as fuck. Like, that shit is illogical and it's dumb. And no, I don't think it helps your image, because if you got that image, if that's your image, if you look that way and you ain't making money, then what's the fucking point? If you look that way and it's been years and you're not getting tens of thousands of dollars, you're doing something fucking wrong. So you might as well sell your motherfucking gold and diamonds and jewels and buy advertisements until those advertisements net you, gross you, earn you, bring you tens of thousands of dollars on a fucking ongoing basis. Because, man, even those motherfucking videos, how to do it yourself, according to One Sir Grove, OSGOE, even if you got millions of motherfucking plays, if you ain't getting tens of thousands of dollars after you got millions of plays, it means you haven't bought enough ads. That's real talk. You ain't bought enough ads to reach a wide enough audience that is your target demographic audience that is buying your material. Having motherfuckers play your videos is one thing, but if motherfuckers ain't buying your shit, they ain't buying your merchandise, they're not buying your gear, they're not, because that's branding. That's part of G. In conclusion, if you ain't got your motherfucking products lined up and you're not reaching a wide enough audience, and an audience that's not just playing your music, but that is your target audience that's buying your music and your products, you ain't doing shit. You just look in a certain kind of fucking way and use a static nigga J type motherfucker. And I'm not saying that to be disrespectful. I'm saying that in that that's real motherfucking talk and that's real shit. You know now how to fucking do it right. You should have known, you know what I'm saying? But some niggas don't know. And now that you know, like G.I. Joe used to say, nigga, that's half the fucking battle. Knowing is half the fucking battle. You just got to apply yourself, man. You just got to apply that shit. So what you end up with in conclusion is niggas who are unrealistic and they don't want to relinquish the money that it takes. They'd rather just roll around locally and put on a show and do some little mini fake tour and shit. They won't relinquish the money. In other words, they won't spend the money that they need in terms of advertising to do everything that I just said. They won't do it. They're greedy motherfuckers with an ego. Greedy niggas with egos. And look how they be. They just be some nigga J type motherfuckers, man, being unrealistic with themselves, unrealistic with their fans, unrealistic with their money situation and their careers. They're walking around with fucking vanity, looking a certain kind of fucking way with some appearance and shit, with some motherfucking static gold diamond fucking chain and shit, some jewels and all this shit, but they ain't doing what they're supposed to do in the game. They ain't doing what they're supposed to do with the formula, with the business model. And all of the information is right there at their fingertips. Nah, these niggas is showboating. These niggas is high-siding. These motherfuckers is trying to floss. And these niggas is faulty. These niggas is faulty. Like I said, they're greedy with egos, and the little paper that they got in terms of their little like dwindling assets, their little fledgling career, they don't want to take the spinners off the car, sell them. They don't want to take the diamonds and jewels, the gold, and sell it. They don't want to invest money in the stock market. They don't want to buy penny stocks. They don't want to buy any fucking NASDAQ stocks. They don't want to buy any fucking advertisements of any type of level that's going to net them that revenue, gross them that fucking annual income. They don't want to do that. They'd rather just walk around town, ride around town, and fucking try to make it look like they're doing something that they ain't really motherfucking doing. I'm your boy, One Sir Grove.